With everything going on around the New York Jets, the Senior Bowl, everything like that, I definitely missed this one. The New York Jets hired a new wide receiver coach. I want to take a look at 4 wide receivers that could follow him to New York.
Jets, 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 Jets!
So I guess this happened just the other day. The New York Jets hire wide receiver coach Shawn Jefferson, replacing Zach Asiani after 1 year. That gives me a little bit of the sads, because I was hoping the Zach Asiani connection would give us the connection to Courtland Sutton, and maybe we can make a trade and all that good stuff. But that appears to be maybe dead on arrival here with the Jets hiring of Shawn Jefferson. He's been with the Jets before. He was with us in the Adam Gase years. Now here's his resume: Lions 2006, 2012, Titans 2013, 2015, Dolphins 16 to 18, Jets 19 to 20, Cardinals for 2 years, and then most recently with the Panthers from this past year. So when you ask me, hey, are the New York Jets surrounding everyone, this coaching staff and our players, with the best possible coaches around, I say, I don't think so. I'm not sure, because we're hiring a lot of guys that wind up getting fired from other teams as opposed to poaching someone from a team that might be more desirable. Now, the Carolina coaching staff basically got eviscerated this past year. Everyone got fired. Everyone got canned because of the lack of quarterback success and the success of C.J. Stroud, just one pick behind him. Apparently, the coaching staff wanted C.J. Stroud. Bryce Young winds up getting picked because the ownership wanted him, and basically everyone's out here. So maybe there's a little bit of nuance when it comes to the Carolina coaching staff in general. Now, Shawn Jefferson, he's got a really long career as a wide receivers coach. Lots of connections around the league, and the Jets are going to need some help attracting free agents here because 1, our state income tax, 2, our field turf, 3, do wide receivers want to try catching the ball from a quarterback not named Aaron Rodgers in the event that Aaron Rodgers doesn't really fully recover from his Achilles injury? Like, the Jets are going to be in a really rough spot when it comes to recruiting free agent wide receivers. So with this, I want to take a look at a few wide receivers that might be able to follow Shawn Jefferson here. We'll start off with like a pretty basic one. This one's Van Jefferson, his son. New York Jets were rumored to like him in the draft just a few years ago, and we were thinking, oh, maybe there's a situation that's going to come away with, a coaching staff's son who comes out of college. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, 28 years old still. 20 receptions, 209 yards last year for the Falcons. So this image is of him when he was on the Rams. He actually had a pretty decent season or two with the Rams before going to Atlanta, and then Atlanta never solved their quarterback problem. So like guys like Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson didn't get any sort of success either. So maybe this year is not as doom and gloomy as that 209 yards may indicate. Next player up I want to take a look at is DJ Chark. This is someone that I did bring up at one point as a potential low-cost option for the New York Jets. He's got a size profile that I think a lot of fans do want that would complement Garrett Wilson, but not the price tag that a Mike Evans or T. Higgins would kind of command. 6'4", 200 pounds, 27 years old. Last year had 35 receptions, 525 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, this is a high upside guy. You could probably get DJ Chark for like $5 million. He signed last year for 1 year, $5 million. And he has had, is it ankle injuries? I think it's ankle injuries the last 2 seasons or maybe the 2 seasons leading up to the Panthers. So he hasn't really had the opportunity to shine the way you would like. And he's a burner. He will take the top off of a defense. And with the Carolina Panthers offensive line last year, you can argue, much like the Jets offensive line, we couldn't allow routes to develop downfield to take advantage of it because they just didn't have the horses in the stable to keep their quarterback upright for long enough for those routes to develop. If the Jets fix their offensive line, hopefully they are this offseason, you can allow those to develop downfield. So maybe for a low-cost swing, you could bring in a DJ Chark and have a deep threat here. I think the most attractive option to me right now, based on our timeline, is DeAndre Hopkins. Now, you can see he was with the Cardinals from 2021 to 2022, Mr. Shawn Jefferson was, and DeAndre Hopkins was a free agent last year. 6'1", 212 pounds. I don't really have to explain who DeAndre Hopkins is. Last year, he had 75 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Man, I wish we could have had DeAndre Hopkins this past year. If this is any sort of indication that maybe we could attract him here right now, I mean, there wasn't a crazy ton of interest in Hopkins last offseason, and if he's looking to try and win a Super Bowl, maybe he's only got a contract or 2 left in him. Maybe he decides to come over to roll the dice with Aaron Rodgers. The Jets are probably going to be a little more desperate this year, offer up a little bit more money. This is someone that would absolutely be a wild compliment for alongside Garrett Wilson. I would really like DeAndre Hopkins. I think this would make a ton of sense, and you wouldn't have to commit long-term to him. You're probably committing 2 years on a contract, maybe some extra void years or something along those lines. I would absolutely bring in DeAndre Hopkins, even though he the Jets didn't really explore him last year, and he threw a little bit of shade at the Jets last season, or maybe a year ago, where he had, they were looking at different teams, where are you going to go? And he saw the Jets, and he was like giving the smirk, and not happening. Maybe things change a little bit, 1 year later with Aaron Rodgers here. Things could be a little different. And then the final player I want to take a look at is Hollywood Brown, another Arizona Cardinals wide receiver. He's young, 27 years old, 5'9", 180 pounds, 51 receptions last year, 574 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, obviously, Kyler Murray missed a large portion of the season last year and the season before with an ACL injury. So Hollywood Brown, could he be on his way out of the Cardinals? They have the number 4 pick, seemingly looking poised to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe Hollywood Brown, after not getting a crazy ton of targets in Baltimore, then getting traded to Arizona to not get a crazy ton of targets because his quarterback wound up missing time. Maybe he's looking to move on and get a fresh start elsewhere, and following the former wide receiver coach for him might be an attractive option. Of these 4 guys that I'm looking at here, high upside are these 2 for sure. Van Jefferson and DJ Chark. Low cost, obviously not going to cost you a whole lot, and you could potentially have, an increase in where they could outplay their current contracts. With DeAndre Hopkins, I think you're going to have to pay him a little bit more. Same thing with Hollywood Brown, and you may not get the level needed to reach that monetary threshold that you're paying him, but the floor is seemingly significantly higher for DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown. When I'm going into a season where I'm expecting Super Bowl, for me, I think I'm leaning DeAndre Hopkins here. The stats just don't lie. The guy's been a monster his entire career. That's who I would want to bring in. Guys, I'm curious. Are there other wide receivers that the New York Jets could be bringing in because of their connection with Shawn Jefferson right now? Let me know in the comment section down below. Which ones would you like to see come into New York? Which ones do you want to stay away from? Do you like my top 4? Do you want to rank those down below in the comment section? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.
Jets!